There's a confusion many young adults quietly carry. It doesn't announce itself as confusion, it shows up as disappointment, as frustration, as a vague sense that people have become colder, that relationships are no longer deep the way they used to be, that you're somehow invisible to the very people who should see you. For most of human history, kindness looked like intervention. If someone struggled, people stepped in. Neighbors corrected children, family members interfered in marriages. Co-workers spoke directly about mistakes. Getting involved was normal. It wasn't always comfortable and it wasn't always gentle, but it was understood as participation in a shared life. Today, something subtle has changed. In many modern environments, kindness often looks like non-interference. People see a problem and look away. They avoid correcting other people's children. They hesitate to advise friends about their relationships. At work, colleagues remain silent even when they see mistakes forming. It's not always because they are indifferent. Often, they believe staying out of it is the kinder option, and this creates a painful misunderstanding, especially for young people navigating relationships, workplaces, and family dynamics. Many still expect kindness to appear as unsolicited involvement. They believe that if people cared, they would notice their struggle and step in, instinctively, generously, without being asked. When this doesn't happen, they conclude they don't matter, that people are selfish, that the world has lost its humanity. But what if the rules of the system have shifted? What if involvement without invitation now carries risk, responsibility, and social costs that didn't exist before? This video is not a lament, it's a map. We are going to trace how kindness transformed from intervention to non interference and what this costs you in your relationships, your family, your career, and your sense of personal fulfillment. Let's go back, not to romanticize the past, but to understand the original operating system that shaped human expectations for millennia. In older social systems, lives were tightly interwoven. Families lived close together, communities were small, reputation traveled quickly. In these environments, everyone's behavior affected everyone else. If a child misbehaved, a neighbor corrected them. If a marriage struggled, relatives intervened. If a young worker made a mistake, elders stepped in with direct instruction. This was not simple kindness, it was collective survival. Communities functioned like small ecosystems. Stability required constant correction. A failing farmer affected food supply. A reckless youth endangered group safety. A broken marriage destabilized families tied together by kinship. The cost of ignoring problems was too high, so involvement became the norm. Kindness meant helping even when it wasn't invited. Imagine a pre-modern village. If your father died, the neighbors didn't ask if you needed help with planting. They showed up at dawn with hoes. If your child was sick, the women didn't send a thoughtful text. They arrived with herbs, stayed until the fever broke. No one asked permission. No one waited for an invitation. Notice the conditions that made this possible: physical proximity, visible struggles, shared faith, no privacy as you understand it, and reputation as currency. In this world, intervention wasn't kindness, it was how the group ensured its own survival. So, what happened? How did we move from a world where kindness meant getting involved to a world where kindness increasingly means staying out? Three forces transformed the landscape. First one, the invention of privacy. As societies urbanized and industrialized, a new value emerged, one that barely existed in the village: the right to be left alone. Your life became your private domain. Your struggles became your own business. Your home became a castle with a locked door. To intervene uninvited shifted from being helpful to being intrusive. Think about the locked door. For most of human history, doors were symbolic. In many cultures, they remained open. The locked door is a modern invention, a physical statement that what's inside is not public property. With it came a new message: do not enter without knocking. Do not assume you are welcome. Force 2. The explosion of information. You now have access to more people's struggles than any human in history. A friend posts a cryptic status, a cousin shares an article about depression, a colleague seems tired, an acquaintance from high school mentions they're going through a hard time. In the village, you had bandwidth to notice and respond to the few. Today, you are flooded with signals from hundreds. To respond to all would destroy you. To respond to some requires choosing who matters most. And that choosing feels like betrayal to those not chosen. Take for example, you have a friend going through a breakup. You know because of vague posts. You want to reach out, but you also have three other friends in crisis: a parent with health issues, and work deadlines. You hesitate. The hesitation isn't lack of care, it's cognitive overload. By the time you decide what to do, the moment passes. You stay silent. They interpret it as coldness. Force 3. The risk of involvement. This is the most consequential shift. Getting involved now carries personal risk. In the village, if you intervened and it went wrong, the consequences were shared. Everyone knew you meant well. Today, if you step into someone's situation uninvited, you can be accused of overstepping. Unsolicited advice is resented. Offering help can imply you think someone is incapable. Take for example, you notice a colleague seems depressed. You've worked together for years. You put them aside, express concern, suggest they talk to someone. They report you to HR for creating a hostile work environment. You learn that day kindness through intervention is professionally dangerous. Next time, you say nothing. The result of these three forces is a new social contract. People now wait for explicit invitation. They are not cold. They are not risk averse in a world where involvement carries unpredictable consequences. There's another reason people hesitate to get involved: responsibility. In the past, people could intervene without being expected to carry the outcome. Today, involvement often creates implicit responsibility. If you advise someone about their relationship, you may later be blamed if it fails. If you help a coworker solve a problem, you may become responsible for fixing it again. If you step into family conflict, you may be expected to stay involved indefinitely. People have learned something through experience. Helping once can become helping forever. So, many choose distance, not out of cruelty, but out of caution. This is why someone may see your difficulty and remain silent. It does not always mean they don't care. Sometimes it means they don't know the limits of their involvement. Here is where the misunderstanding occurs. Many young individuals still expect the older model of kindness. They expect people to notice their struggle, step in automatically, provide help, and accept no responsibility afterward. But modern social systems no longer support this model. Today, help is more likely to appear when three conditions exist. First, invitation. You must signal that involvement is welcome. Second, clarity. You must articulate what you need. Third, define boundaries. People need to know where their responsibility begins and ends. Without these conditions, people hesitate. They do not want to become responsible for problems they did not create. This is the gap that leaves so many feeling unseen. They are waiting for a form of kindness that the modern world no longer reliably provides. Let's trace how this affects romantic and friendship connections. Let's look into getting started in such connections. You are interested in someone, you drop hints, you hope they will notice. In the old world, you had backup, a matchmaker, a friend who would intervene, a family member who would create the meeting. Today, no one intervenes. Everyone waits. Take for example, two people at a coffee shop steal glances. Both are interested. Both wait for the other to approach. Neither does. They leave and never see each other again. In another context, someone might have said, "You two should meet." That someone now stays silent because it's not their place. The connection dies from non intervention. Let's look into sustaining such connections, assuming they are formed. Once in a relationship, conflicts arise. In the old world, elders, friends, or community members would step in, not to take sides, but to facilitate repair. Today, friends stay out of it. Today, friends stay out of it. They don't want to be caught in the middle. The relationship either heals on its own or it doesn't. Let's look into transcending such connections, assuming they happen and they are sustained. Deep relationships require periodic reinvention. You grow, you change. In the old world, community rituals marked these transitions. Today, no one throws you a ceremony. You're expected to announce your own evolution, usually awkwardly, usually alone. Nowhere is this shift more painful than in families. Let's look into sparse cooperation. You are married, exhausted, overwhelmed. In the old world, grandparents or siblings nearby would see the imbalance and step in, cooking a meal, taking the kids, giving you a break. Today, they live hours away. They send encouraging messages but stay absent. The intervention never comes. The marriage strains under the unshared load. Let's look into child-parent dynamic. Your teenager is struggling, withdrawn. In the old world, you had backup. Teachers who knew your child, neighbors who would report trouble, extended family who would offer another adult voice. Today, you are alone. You wait for them to open up. They wait for you to understand without words. Both wait. The gap widens. Let's look into single parenting. You are raising a child alone. In the old world, the village raises children. Uncles, aunts, grandparents, neighbors all had a hand. Today, people admire your strength from a distance. They send messages, but they don't show up. You handle it all alone. The workplace reflects the same shift. You are early in your career. You meet people, connect, have good conversations, then you wait. You wait for them to remember you, to offer an opportunity, to see your potential and pull you up. In the old world, mentors chose you. A master would observe an apprentice, see promise, and then intervene. Today, no one chooses you. The people who could help are inundated. They are not scanning for you. If you don't ask clearly, if you don't say, "I'm working on X, you've done Y, could I ask you one specific question?" You will remain invisible. Professional kindness today often appears as availability, not intervention. Help exists, but it must usually be activated. Here's the deepest cost. You feel unseen, not dramatically, just quietly, persistently. You feel that who you are, what you struggle with, what you are becoming, none of it is truly registered by the people around you. In the old world, being seen was passive. You were seen because you were there, because people had known you forever. Today, being seen requires you to be visible on purpose. It requires you to say, "Look at me. This is what I need. This is who I'm becoming." If you wait for kindness to find you, you will wait a long time. Not because kindness is gone, but because its modern form is respectful distance until invited closer. Understanding this shift is not about becoming bitter, it's about becoming clear. Kindness has not disappeared, it has simply changed form. It now lives behind a door that requires a knock. The people who care about you are not ignoring you, they are waiting for a signal that their involvement is welcome. If you want relationships that starts, you must send the signal. If you want relationships that deepen, you must speak your needs. If you want family that understands, you must tell your story. If you want mentors who guide you, you must make the ask. If you want to feel seen, you must step into the light on purpose. This is not weakness. This is not desperation. This is the new literacy. The old world offered instinctive involvement. That word is gone. The new world offers something else. The possibility of deep, intentional connection, but only if you learn to issue the invitation. The kindness you're waiting for is already there. It's just waiting for you to knock.